With Leeds United getting promoted back to the Premier League, we're going to jump in here and do a 10-minute rebuild to see if they can survive that first season back in the Premier League and avoid being a yayo club and defeat the trend that is probably going to be the case for the next 5 to 10 years before a club can beat it. Leeds United probably have one of the best chances to actually do that this season. Everybody seems to think that Leeds United can do it this season. I just don't see it. We'll see what they do in the transfer window. But with a 10-minute timer and $100 million to spend, we are going to look to improve on this squad and make them hopefully a Premier League capable team for at least 2 seasons. Let's see what we can do. The 10-minute starts in 3, 2, 1, and starts. You can see there our first addition that we want to bring in is to replace our keeper because Meslier, Darlow, and even Carms are all horrible. So let's go replace him and find a new goalkeeper. And someone they are interested in real life is Liverpool's backup keeper in Kelleher. We are going to look to go ahead and bring him into the club here. They want around 18.5. The market value is around that at least. So we are going to offer exactly his market value. See what they say to that. They say perfectly yes to it instantly. We might waste no time on these transfer. Obviously, you're going to want Crucial. That is completely fine. Yes, as he should. 5-year deal, 25 years old. Don't matter. We're only here for a season anyway. He can have 50,000. He shouldn't want more than that. He wants 56. He wants the 2K rages ways, which is perfectly fine. And Mr. Kelleher comes into the squad. I didn't really look at to what else they needed to do. I did look at some transfer rumors. That's why I knew Kelleher. There's also a couple ones that are possibly, but obviously good enough keeper for simulation purposes here on FC25 on the game at least. A good enough back line for those simulation purposes. And then other than that, it doesn't really matter. It's just up to EA coding in all honesty. Next up is a center back they have slight interested in over from Marseille in France. We are going to look to offer Leonardo Ballardi a spot here in the team. We're going to try and get him a little bit cheaper. So we are going to say goodbye to Rodon here, just to see if we can get him maybe a little bit cheaper. 14 million there plus Rodon. They say yes to that. Okay. I don't have negotiations on loose or default. I have it on. Actually, no, I have it on default for everything. Never mind. And Ballardi will look to join the club. He will be joining the club as long as I don't mess this up here. Crucial, that's perfectly fine. Yes. 4-year contract deal. Perfectly fine. Yes. Release clause. No release clause. Good enough. You want 70K, 80K, you can have 80K. Why not? Oh, you want 80K plus a wage or plus a signing bonus? Sure. Bit greedy, but whatever. We get our second player into the club in only a matter of 2.5 minutes. We're going to look to improve the midfield as well. The certain defensive mid spots here. We're going to look to bring in Mats Weaver from Brighton. We are more than likely going to have to try and get rid of someone. Do we? No, I guess he wouldn't. He wouldn't have to get rid of anyone here. Swingers, we could get rid of Daniel James if we really wanted to. Strikers, not really. Strikers is something we do have to go look at. So let me just go and try and get this deal over the line. We're going to offer 18 million. See what they say to that. They say yes to that. Okay, cool. I wasted too much time trying to find a center defense mid. I thought this guy was on Leicester in all honesty, and he was on Brighton. So yes, that's my mistake. That's my fuck up. We are gonna offer him Crucial 5-year contract deal. Bada bing, bada boom. No release clause, perfectly fine. You can have 60K. Why not? If you don't want more, you don't want more. If you want more, you want more. Mr. Weaver becomes the 3rd player of this 10-minute rebuild. Now I need to find a striker. Now, a player they somehow have interest in is Richarlison from Tottenham. I don't know how much this is going to be a thing now since that Tottenham have Champions League football after winning the Europa League. But you know what? We're going to bring him in. So 22 million, they say yes to that. Ange Postecoglou, who at the time of recording this actually hasn't been official, but rumors are that he is being sacked despite winning the Europa League. So have that Tottenham. We are going to look to bring in Richarlison for the striker position here. He's obviously going to Crucial, completely fine. Yes. 5-year contract deal, fine. It don't matter. I'm only going to be here. This save is only going to exist for the next hour of real time. You're going to have to take a pay cut, though. Not that big of a pay cut, but a pay cut nonetheless. 5K less a week, which is completely fine. Welcome to the club, Mr. Pigeon, Mr. Richarlison. He comes into Leeds United squad. Now, I don't really know what I need to do, but we have 2.5 minutes to do anything we want. And some player that we are going to bring in that they are interested is Josip Junaradovic. I messed that up completely, but a right back currently in the club here. But the thing is, they have Bogle, who's 23, so maybe I don't do this. I'll do it anyway because he's going to cost, what, 3 mil? I mean, he's going to cost literally pennies for us. 3.3 million. Finally, somebody fights back on the thing, and it's the cheapest player on the list here. We're going to look to bring him in and have him part of the squad. Don't know if he's going to be crucial or not. If he wants crucial, he wants crucial. We'll do important. He says yes to important. It's completely fine. 3-year contract deal, completely fine. 8 million release clause, honestly, completely fine. If it gets triggered in the next season, 40,000, he probably want more. He wants 50,000, completely fine there. With a minute 45, do we really have enough to do anything? I mean, we have enough money to do at least one, maybe two more. We are not going to have enough time to really do anything we want to here. You can see a couple players. These three, they're definitely interested in Hinshelwood, which is a backup option. They're interested in Semikolowski for some reason. I'm not going to bring him in because he's just not going to play instead of Solomon, so there's no point in me wasting my time on him. David, obviously, promised David, not Jonathan David. And then Vlasadov Vanat, he is just... He would have been good enough, but wouldn't have been an upgrade anyway. So we're just going to call the timer there as it just windows down within the last 10 seconds there. Yeah, well, rebuild is done. Let's build the squad. Let's see what we can do, and we'll see what this team can do in the season. And so here we go. Kellier in net, Juranovic, Ampadu, Bellotti, and Firpo as a back four. Weaver and Tanaka in the midfield dualship, holding it just ahead of the center backs. Solomon, Daniel James, and Aronson remains as our attack midfield or midfielding attack. And then Richarlison the Pigeon is at striker. I don't have hope for this team. I'm going to be completely honest. I think this might be the first one where we get them yo-yoed back down to the championship. But we'll see what the boys can do. Yeah, well, I will go month by month. I will show y'all big results or anything crazy. But for now, who knows? Now I got to get past the preseason tournament. And after the first 6 games, I just had a quick glimpse. Some things are going well. We kicked off our season with a loss against Tottenham, 3-0 there. We win our first Premier League game right after that against Fulham, a 1-0. We beat Bodo in the Carabao Cup, and then followed by a loss in the Premier League. In the month of September, it was 3 straight losses in Premier League football, followed by a win against Blackpool in the Carabao Cup, a 3-1 loss against Crystal Palace, a 3-0 loss to Everton, and a 4-1 thrashing to Arsenal. We now sit in October where we have Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, and we sit 18th in the Premier League. 1 win out of the first 6 games sees us on 3 points. Sunderland and Brentford are both winless and pointless in totality. That is absurd to see for Brentford, whereas Burnley is all the way up in 3rd plot after winning 5 games and drawing 1. That is absurd. And Man City, of course, doing Man City things, winning 6 of the first 6 games. Why is Burnley all the way up there? That is absurd. But yeah, we have a relatively easier schedule. We will go and get to the beginning of December and then see where we are there and just keep on going. And so, bounce back immense is here. A 4-0 thrashing against Bournemouth. A 1-1 draw against bloody Burnley. A 1-0 win against Nottingham Forest. We beat Chelsea in the Carabao Cup on penalties in November. We beat Sunderland 4-0. We beat Brentford 2-1. We draw to Manchester United. We unfortunately do lose our first game in a while against Chelsea there. And at the start of December, we have Tottenham in the quarterfinals of that. This month is going to be tough, though. We have Newcastle, Liverpool, Man City. I do expect us to finally get knocked out of the Carabao Cup against Tottenham, although miracles can happen. That does see us sit in 10th spot, though, after that little nice run of form where we are now safe from relegation at the moment. Burnley are falling off slightly, kind of going back to normality, or maybe just still above normality, but not as good as they once was. Manchester City did lose a game in that stretch as well. They are 11 wins and then only 1 loss. They are sitting 1 point ahead of Liverpool despite losing only 1 game and dropping only 3 points this entirety of the season is absurd. Arsenal is sitting there 1 point behind Liverpool. However, everybody has a game in hand against them, so there is that. At the bottom, Sunderland have picked up points finally, as well as Brentford. Nottingham Forest fall into the relegation zones after we got out of that. that. Sunderland looks like favorites for sure to go down, though, after winning one and drawing one. They've lost 11 of the 13 there so far. Let's get into the start of January, where this tough month here is going to determine whether or not, if we can get some decent results here, maybe a win against Newcastle, something like that, maybe we can do something. Carabao Cup semifinal, that'd be absurd, but amazing as well. And so the month of December didn't go too bad. In fact, a 0-0 draw against West Ham, a 1-0 win against Brentford. We do finally get knocked out of the Carabao Cup, losing to Tottenham 2-1 there. But back-to-back wins in the league against Newcastle and Wolves. Newcastle I kind of had written off as a loss there. A 3-0 loss against Liverpool. We kept it close against Man City, only losing 3-2 though. So winning 3 of the 6 Premier League games this season, only losing 2 of the Premier League 6 games this month is actually massive. We now go into January, where it's a relatively easy kind of schedule there. Sheffield United might be on the harder side for an FA Cup round 3 fixture, but we are sitting in the top 8, in the top 10. There's a chance we maybe qualify for European football. We're technically only one spot off, and the 7th spot does get that Conference League spot in this group here. Liverpool are now sitting top of the table, exact points and record as Manchester City. They draw 2 games while winning everything else. Liverpool just have a better goal difference by 1. So they have a better goal difference by 1 at the moment. And at the bottom, it is Brentford now sitting in the bottom spot. Sunderland in 19th. Nottingham Forest in 18th here. Every time I've done a rebuild of recent time, Brentford's been sitting in the playoffs. And I believe the last one, I don't know what rebuild I did last, but the last Premier League rebuild I did, Brentford was a yo-yo club for a while in the rebuild, which is absurd. So yeah, there is, I think it was the Man United debt rebuild I did. Brentford was just a relegation fodder there. So there is that. We are just going to keep on going. I will probably skip at least maybe 1 or 2 months here and get towards April. Let's see what we can do in April and see how the boys do with a relatively longer stretch now. And so January was a little lackluster. We kind of fell into old habits. A 2-1 loss against Villa, a 3-1 loss against Fulham, a 4-1 thrashing against Tottenham. We did pick up a draw against Crystal Palace, and we did beat Sheffield United in the FA Cup to move on to round 4 there. In February, we go ahead and beat Everton 4-0. We beat Crystal Palace in the Cup 3-0. We lose to Arsenal 2-1. We beat Brentford, and then we beat West Ham both 2-1 and 2-0 there. Moving into March, we do get knocked out to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. However, we pick up points against 2 of the top 6 sides in Chelsea and Man United, a 2-2 draw and a 1-1 draw, which leads us into the start of April, where we have Arsenal, we have Man City, Newcastle, Liverpool, and that's the toughest games we have left to face. So the rest of this season is a relatively easy stretch for us, and I think we are safe from relegation. We are currently sitting 9th in the league at the moment. We are, how many points we have? 39. We are, 22 points ahead of relegation with 9 games left to go. We are all but safe from relegation so far. We are now kind of gonna slowly and somehow maybe shift the focus up to top 7, but even that, we are 10 points behind Newcastle, so I do not think that will happen. So we're just kind of fighting for mid-table, which is completely fine. It's completely fine. This is better than what I expected this to actually be around 16 and 15, because I don't think the improvements we made this season with this squad was actually drastic. I think the only really massive improvements was Berardi and Kellier. Other than that, Richarlison, I mean, we have Prado, who's 76 overall. We didn't really improve on the wings, and Brendan Anderson was obviously a weak point for us as well. So I will see y'all at the end of the season, where hopefully we maybe catch up against Newcastle, but if not, it's a great rebuild nonetheless. And so a 5-2 loss against Man City, a 3-1 loss against Newcastle, a 1-0 loss against Brighton, and a 3-0 loss against Liverpool completed our winless streak. That is absurd. A winless streak of 6 in the league, a loss streak of 4. We go ahead and bounce back, finally beating Leeds United 3-1. But back onto the loss column we go against Burnley for the last time this season, our last loss of the season, as we lose 2-0 to Burnley. We beat Nottingham Forest 3-0. We draw to Sunderland 1-0 or 1-1. And on the final game day away from home, we beat AFC Bournemouth 3-0, which sees us sit in 9th in the Premier League. So we have survived relegation. We have done massively improvement-wise. I don't know how this team finished 9th in the Premier League, but they did. We finished on 49 points, 1 point shy of the half point there. Manchester City win the league by 2 points with 99 points. Liverpool finished in second with 97. Kind of repeats of what season was that? 2017, 2018, something like that, when it was 99 to 98, I believe. Arsenal finished in third with 90 points there. Aston Villa finished in fourth with 88. So there's your top 4. Tottenham, Chelsea, and Newcastle get European football as well. We finished in 9th. We were 16 points off European football there. Man United finished in 13th. Burnley also survived relegation, avoiding the yo-yo. After a bright start to the season, they fall all the way down to 14th. And going down is Sunderland. So Sunderland do go down. Nottingham Forest is going down alongside them, and Brentford as well, going down by 1 goal off a goal difference, with Leeds United escaping by the skin of their teeth. The FA Cup final goes to Chelsea in this season after they beat Arsenal. The Carabao Cup goes to Liverpool, winning 8-7 on penalties against Manchester City. The the Champions League finals between Barcelona versus Arsenal, which was the Women's Champions League final, and we nearly had this as well in the Men's Champions League final as well, but both teams got knocked out in the semifinals. It would have been better if Barcelona got through. Hell, it would have been better if Arsenal got through against PSG. But PSG did go ahead and obviously destroy Inter Milan. Lazio go ahead and win the Europa League. And then in the Conference League final, has not been played yet, but Chelsea versus Fiorentina, where in real life, Chelsea did go ahead and win that one there as well. Our squad hub now, as we look to just wrap up this season here in this rebuild. Our top goal scorer was Perot, who actually probably played majority of the season instead of Richarlison, which is kind of interesting. Did he play? Richarlison played 6 games. So Richarlison didn't even play, which makes us even more concerning. Because how did we perform so well with Richarlison not playing in a 76, 75 rated player playing every single game of the season? I don't know, but it's happened. Daniel James had 12 goals. Solomon had 11 goals. Brendan Aronson only had 5 goals and 6 assists. How did we survive? And not how do we survive? How do we do so good that we did? How do we do as good as we did in the Premier League? I don't know. But if you want to see a proper Leeds United rebuild off the back end of this, it probably won't be possible because I'll probably overwrite this in a couple of days, in all honesty. But I will see what I can do. If you want to see a proper Leeds United rebuild, let me know in the comments. I'll have to wait at least a week or two. Can't do back-to-back Leeds United. I'll see y'all on Friday for another rebuild here on the channel. Until then, leave a like, subscribe, and peace out.